Yeah, exactly. So let's just center ourselves a little bit. You can close your eyes if you want to, and just tune in to the present moment, to the here and now. Feeling your feet on the floor, feeling your body resting against the seat. Listening to whatever is going on around you. The sounds you can hear. Or the silence. And just allowing yourself to land. To the here and now. And just trust that whatever needs to come forth today, whatever needs to happen, will happen with ease. When you're ready, you can just open your eyes.
Better.
How can I support you today?
Where do I start? I was thinking about, your little circles, the heart-centered and the drive and the vision you did the other day. It was on one of the things, and I'm thinking about where I fitted into those things, and I think that often, I could be either. Heart-centeredness is huge for me. That's my massive strength, and I did that little river just quickly beforehand, and I can see that's a great strength of mine. But sometimes I get a bit either lost or dreamlike, and that's my artistic thing. I can sort of hide within my paintings. I sort of hover between those two. They're my weaknesses, is the drive and the vision. Probably the vision, because I'm scared of being bigger than myself, I think.
So you generally see yourself as a fairly, well, I know you're heart-centered, but also as a driven person.
I'm driven, I'm driven, but there's something that holds me back to that. I don't know where it is. I haven't got a word for it, but in my body and my health and, things, I'm very sort of meticulous about, health and my own vision. But with work, I get to a point and I just get scared, I think. And I don't know why, I think.
So if you didn't think, but you knew, okay, I know there's a part of me that gets scared. Where does that come from, do you think?
That's the thing. It's not like I had an awful child. I mean, I had a beautiful childhood, and it's not like, oh my God, I was so traumatized. But I can see things in the past that stop me from doing, even though I've done very adventurous things, there are things in the past, because I do have quite high expectations, that I do get scared about things, and I don't know where that comes from.
Do you see a pattern with the things that you're scared about? Like there's something like this, something that's similar?
Well, it's just, it's the littlest things. Like I get scared of maybe not being perfect. Like I even remember, like, here's me running, and I was always good at athletics, and here's me getting in the state team, and I didn't even think that I could, and I'm running around and I'm winning an event, and I go, how the hell did that happen? I'm looking around going, why am I here? Like, I know that sounds like it's really silly, going, I didn't know that I was this good. And then when you asked me to be to choose me, I think, well, why are you choosing me for? I don't know, there's lots of things in my life that have happened that I've surprised, because I don't no, I don't know. I just always think there's someone, if I do it, even if I cook a good meal, I notice someone brought attention and they said, oh, this is really lovely for my family. And I'm always criticizing it, thinking, oh, no, it isn't. It's not this, it's not that. And I found myself doing that the other day. My daughter said, Mum, why don't you just say thank you? I went, oh, that's probably true. Do you see what I mean? Like there are patterns there of not believing in myself, maybe. Is it? I don't know what it is. I'm confused with it.
How does it feel to say thank you?
Good. But a little bit that I don't deserve it. I don't know. It's so, even my brother says that to me. He says, Rossy, I always got to give things to people. And he'll buy me a present out of the blue. And I said, you didn't have to do that. He said, Rossy, I know I didn't have to do that, but just say thank you. I said, thank you.
Yeah.
When I think about it, it happens to me all the time.
So how are you with giving things to others? What does that feel like for you? Is that uncomfortable too? It feels great.
No, opposite. I love giving things to other people. Like I can, like my whole body language has changed. I can feel it in my heart and I go, oh, that's better.
Yeah.
I'm giving that.
Feels more comfortable.
I can relax.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that in your body. You get free.
Yeah.
It's like,
I can feel it.
Good.
I go, oh, yeah, we can talk about this now.
Yeah. So what about when you're given to somebody and do you focus on how they receive it, as in, whether they enjoy it or whether they, the receiving part, the other person? Do you ever focus on how they receive what you give?
I mean, I did, if someone, you like to feel like you're worthwhile. I don't know. Yeah, I do actually. I do. It's important to me. Yeah, it is important to me that someone's grateful. And I don't know, that might be a selfish thing, but I like to feel like if I give something to somebody, that's it feels nice to be. I mean, maybe I don't. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It matters to you how they receive the gift.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So what happens if they would, like, you give the gift to somebody and they don't appreciate it, or you're not getting that?
I think I give my time, even with donating, say, like my time, because I've been volunteering, I'm fine with that. It's a different thing because, I've been volunteering, as you know, with the kids, and I don't need them to say thank you. That's not important to me because I want to give to them, and it's completely different as giving a gift.
Okay. So this is interesting, right? So let me see if I get this right. So giving a gift or a thing to somebody feels a little bit different in comparison to volunteering or giving your time, and that's a different energy. What makes it different?
Oh, it's a really good question. I know I don't, because I don't need them to thank me, just not at all. It's just I like giving. That gives me a huge amount of pleasure to give to these kids. I do it for free. I mean, I've been actually counselling some kids at the moment where they've been paying me, but if I didn't need the money, I'd do it for free. I love it that much. I just think, wow, this is awesome, because I just love the way that they respond, and I give them their power back. And teenagers are fascinating creatures. But as far as a gift, it's a good reason. Why do I have to be worthy, or do I have to be validated? I don't.
Doesn't make you feel as good.
No, not when you give a gift. And someone, like, happened to me recently, like a friend, I gave her a gift and she just didn't even respond. She just went, oh, by the way, I got your gift in the post, and I went to great lengths to sort of send this gift. And I was a bit sort of, but that's a bit silly, really, because maybe that's just her. She's like that with gifts.
So it's interesting, right? Because if you think about it, when you're on the receiving end of receiving something that someone has made an effort or is purchasing something for you, you snub it off too sometimes then, by saying, oh, you didn't have to think about me. Oh, I don't, why did you do that? And it's not the same thing. It means you appreciate it, but there's a feeling of, I don't deserve this. You shouldn't be giving this to me. Don't waste your time on me.
Yeah, or I go over the top and be completely gutturally gratitude, one or the other. But I've always make either a big deal about it. But I'm not comfortable with being given presents. It's sort of funny, even though I love it, but I'm not. Yeah. I can even feel it now. Isn't it funny? Oh my God, it's so weird.
Yeah. See, in a way, I mean, there's a reason why we're drawn to these professions, because we're natural givers. It's like, you said it yourself, you're like, oh my gosh, it feels so good when I'm giving up. I feel good. I'm in that space of giving, and it just feels natural to me and free to me. But then the opposite of us being able to be in a position of receiving, and if we don't, I think there's a lot to say about allowing ourselves, or becoming really good at receiving, because when we do, we actually become even better at giving.
Yeah, I've got to. That's a big thing. I've really got to work on. I've never really thought about it before, actually, but even this conversation now, I can feel it in my body, because we've been learning that about connecting, and it's funny, I can just feel it more than the words. Because can be connected when I'm very sensitive to people's energy. If I walk into a room and there's like a negative or positive, or I connect with someone, I can feel your energy now. I'm very sensitive to people's energies. Yeah. Good or bad. Like, it drives me crazy sometimes, because I wish I wouldn't be, but even though I walk into a surgery or somewhere, or I can just feel people's energies.
So if you think about it, when someone is giving you a gift, yes, they're giving it to you. And the way you can give back that gift is by really receiving it.
How do I do that? Oh God.
Like, it's almost like you're giving them a gift back by saying thank you and energetically receiving the gift.
Yeah. I mean, my daughter's like very giving. Recently she gave me these earrings, like this beautiful heart little necklace, and it's a beautiful gold. And I was so overwhelmed by that, like she would do that for no reason, because she just had a baby. And she gave me a gift because she just had a baby. I just thought that was the sweetest thing. But I was totally overwhelmed by that. It's the simplest little thing that she would do that. And it was not. It was lovely, but it's like, wow, really? Really? I should be giving you a gift because I'm the mum. Maybe it's just my sense of worth, just I don't know. Maybe it's, so I've always battled that a little bit, but there's no reason. I've just decided that along the way, I think. I noticed that in that Tony Robbins thought. I was never, from a little girl, my two brothers I always felt that they were better than me at things, but that's not true. I know that now, but it's still that little niggling belief sits there. You think, well, how do I get rid of that? I've done so much work and it still sits in that little space.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter how much work you do or how much you do, there's always another level.
I did a meditation the other day, and that's when I knew that it was a guided meditation, and I had to guide myself into this room, and it's just a long story cut short. I had to look into that room as my perception of myself. And I was really into this meditation. I thought it was really, and I saw, and they said, how did you feel looking at yourself? And I looked, and there was these mountains because I don't know why there was mountain, maybe because we've done a lot of climbed a lot of mountains, but but I was scared. There was a thing of fear of this little girl, and I went, oh, I feel really confident.
Mm.
And it's only did it the other day. I went, wow, I'm still there, aren't I? I'm still scared.
Mm. What's the
And
worst
for
that
the
could
rest of the
happen?
day, I went,
What's the worst that could happen? You would allow yourself to receive.
be disappointed. Nothing. It's the point. It's so silly. Nothing bad could happen by being given something. Nothing bad. So why am I feeling it?
Yeah. So I get that.
Nothing.
So your conscious mind is going nothing, right? Makes sense. Nothing bad happens if I allow myself to receive.
Mm.
What about if you ask your heart?
I ask my heart if something bad could happen.
What could happen if you allow yourself to receive fully? What would your heart have to say about that?
It would love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's already like my heart runs my life. It's like, oh
Right.
God.
Yeah.
It does. Like, I'm heart-centered about everything. I mean, maybe I think too much in my heart. Like, my heart just explodes. Like, I notice when even if I do a heart, like a chakra meditation, that's strong, but it can't be really, can it? Because I'm too scared still. So I don't know.
So let's stay in the heart center. You're good at opening your heart. You're good at connecting. You say, oh, I even think with my heart. So when we're thinking with our heart and we're walking around with our heart on our sleeve, what could happen sometimes when we do that?
They can get hurt.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. I've done that. Mm.
Has that happened before?
Mm.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Mm. It's vulnerable. It's very vulnerable. I go around with this big heart, but I guess I do try to protect it. And that's the problem. Maybe not a problem, but see, where did that come from? That's so weird.
Mm.
And I'm fine now. Like, I have a beautiful marriage. I had a new baby grandson being born this morning, and I have another I have a beautiful life now. Like, I'm so proud of where I've come from, but that pain is still, I guess, still there.
Yeah.
Deep inside.
And that's the thing, isn't it? When we're open-hearted and loving and we care for others and that, we're also susceptible to the opposite of being hurt. Kind of goes with the territory of being an open-hearted, loving individual.
No.
Which is the difficult part, right? Which is the thing that we sometimes just subconsciously try and protect because we don't want to be hurt.
No.
It's painful.
It's awful. It's so funny that when I've as an artist, when I was painstakingly going through my divorce, I remember, like, even before that, feeling so isolated and lonely within a relationship, and then painting these paintings that I sold hundreds of them, but that pain body created was really, and it's interesting reading magic, and it's interesting that we think that pain creates creativity, which it did, but it was interesting reading Elizabeth Gilbert's book about the magic, and I thought that was interesting. And she talks about that in her book, and I could relate to that book so much, by the way. I really love that book.
Yeah.
But withdrawing into myself when I felt pain, and drawing into my creativity. And when I look back at it, I remember burning lots of lonely, starry-eyed women in all sorts of situations. But I made them comical, but they were still alone, these women, in this world of looking perfect on the outside.
Yeah.
I do remember going to a counsellor, like sitting going, what is wrong with your life? I said, my life is perfect. I have everything. On the outside, everyone thinks we have a beautiful, perfect life. I'm sure you've heard that before. And of course, it isn't, is it?
No.
No, and that was back then. It's not now. It's completely different now. But it's just the memories. It's just the heart. I think it's still there.
Yeah. And we got to remember that us protecting our heart and protecting those parts of ourselves is not it's not a bad thing that we've done to ourselves. We've done that to keep ourselves safe.
Yeah. I didn't realize I had a shield. I mean, I thought I was pretty open, but I'm not. I still feel like when you asked me that, I could feel it. It's like in my body, it's still there. I'm thinking, God, I thought I've done so much work on this, but obviously it's still there. How do you get it? I mean, it's just a lifelong job, isn't it? Job.
Well, what if it wasn't about getting rid of that? What if it wasn't about removing your protection? What if we could just shift how we do it so that we can have an open heart and be loving and caring, but we can also allow ourselves sometimes to hold the distance and hold that sense of protection up. Like, what if it would be more of a kind of flowy moving thing that doesn't have to be in a particular way all the time, but it can change depending on what's happening in your life.
What do you mean by that?
So, instead of having a particular way to protect ourselves, we all have patterns of how to protect ourselves or protect our heart or protect ourselves from being hurt. We might have certain ways of doing that. And I'm not saying that we know all those ways, but maybe after this conversation, you'll start to see certain things where you're going, oh, I do. That's a thing that I do. Oh, that's interesting. And instead of kind of removing them or making them wrong or, oh, gosh, there it is again. Oh, yeah, there it is again. There's that level of protection, or this conversation makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, or that situation with that person made me feel really vulnerable, and that's okay. And I can learn to bring new awareness to it so that I allow myself to open myself up to other people and to situations, but I'm still allowing myself to still hold my ground sometimes, or actually put up a boundary. It's okay. It's getting comfortable with that boundary instead of trying to get rid of it. How do I get rid of that? How do I become okay with being with that part of myself? Hey, why not? Maybe you could start loving that part of you.
That's a thought. Yeah. I never thought of it that way. That's my not, you're always sort of striving to, and I can see myself getting triggered sometimes, because we've been learning that, and I'm very aware of that now. And I sort of, instead of feeling like that's okay, I tell myself that I'm just aware of it and I'm observing it, but really I'm probably judging myself, really, if I be really honest, I'm going, what did I do that for? And I'm sort of berating myself by being brutally honest. I'm just kidding myself and saying I don't, but now that I'm talking to you, I probably do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And think about that. How interesting that the person that hurts us the most is often the one that is in here.
I know. It's so silly, isn't it? We're so crazy. That little voices, they're very strong. But being aware, I mean, I can see my awareness is so much, but I think, being okay with not, but actually even putting up a boundary. I am learning to do that, because before, I've run a business before, and I just get, by the end, and as a personal trainer, like, I've got my entire clients, like, just, I don't know, being in my life all of the time, and I thought, God, how do I get out of this? And it wasn't fair on my husband, but I did, I created that. It wasn't their fault, it was my fault, because I just did everything and always doing everything for them, and creating different, social activities, to the point they're always coming over, and it just got out of control. It just was absorbing and exhausting. But I know that was my doing, not theirs.
So here's an interesting concept. The idea of as within, so without. So you're aware that you're the kind of person that likes to give to other people, right? That's a comfortable, it's something that you really enjoy. But as within, so without. So because I give so much to others, every time I do that, I have to give back to myself for the same amount. So learning that what I give out to the world, that exact energy, that exact what I'm doing, that needs to come back. Because without that natural balance in between what we give out and what we allow ourselves to receive, without that happening, we're going to exhaust ourselves. And when we get to a point of exhausting ourselves, chances are we have to put up sharp boundaries, shut people out, making sure that we protect ourselves so strongly, because we're just too tired. We've tired ourselves out to the point where we don't have a choice but to shut things off.
I've done that plenty of times. Yeah, I can see myself doing that. Like, I'm learning to not do that. I mean, I'm very lucky to be married to someone who completely gives me that space now and completely understands me, probably more than I do. You saying this thing, he says to me sometimes, oh, Rossy, when you get in that sort of giving all the time, he says, and then I get a bit triggered and a bit snitchy, he says, I put you in, I just allow you a bigger paddock for a while, he says. I get you run around in the paddock, because I come from a farm, and you let her, and then you'll come back and you're all fine. I said, that's good. Yeah. So he opens the gate and lets me out in the paddock.
Yeah.
It's so silly, but I always laugh when he says that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've got to, I have done that. You're absolutely right. There's a pattern that I just emotionally just load myself with other people's problems and then take them on in my heart. I've even noticed that, some clients I've been seeing, there's a few clients that I'm seeing at the moment, I find myself worrying about them at night. Yeah. I couldn't do that when I was doing loads of them, could I? I'd go crazy.
That's right. We can only do that when we have a small amount of clients, or when we have a few people in our lives with problems. The minute that grows, we won't be able to hold that for everybody.
No.
And I know this makes sense to you cognitively, that it's not our job to hold the space for these people. It makes sense to you cognitively. Still, when we are helpers, we fall into that trap over and over again, even though we know cognitively that that's not how I do it. It's not the way I should be doing it. We fall into it. Yeah. And sometimes that can happen because there's a part of us deep inside that feels that we're not really sure that we're enough.
Mm. Mm. Absolutely. Why do we? It's just ridiculous, isn't it? We're never enough. I'm never quite there, or not quite. And then when something really good happens, you think, oh wow, how did that happen?
Mm.
I'm still shocked when things go in it, when things, that. And when you said about doing the river of things you've succeeded, I'm going to go back and do that again, because I did it very, very quickly just before. And I felt actually enjoyed doing that, because I thought, okay, I'm pretty proud of that. I don't do it enough. I'm always looking at what I did wrong, or I could do better, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. And I spend way too much time doing that, even though I know that I shouldn't. Intellectually, it's different to being honest with yourself and what I really do back here.
Yeah.
I think, that's really conflicting. Intellectually, we all know, I could rattle off an essay and do that perfectly, but
yeah,
that would be crap, wouldn't it? Because it's not actually what I think.
Yeah, exactly right.
Mm.
And you said one important word there, it's not what you think. So
believe, probably, is it? It's not what you
think
believe.
or believe. Yeah, it's not what's naturally in you. It's correct. Yeah, it's not what I think. It's not, I know what to say, but it doesn't feel, that's not my truth. The truth is there's a part of me that feels like I could be doing more and I could have done it better, or I should have done it this way.
Yeah.
And then sometimes what we do is we think that that's to do with our worthiness.
Yeah.
But it's not. What you think about you, what you believe about you, anything about you in this situation, it's got nothing to do with your worthiness.
What is it? I don't know.
Imagine a child sitting in front of you right now, or a newborn baby. Yeah, you've got
yes.
Yeah. If you look at that newborn baby, would you see that say that they're worthy?
I mean, of course they are. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't even think of that word.
Exactly. It's not even a thought in your head, right? It's like, of course they are. There's not a doubt in your mind to say.
No, I saw him this morning. He's the most beautiful, perfect being on the planet. Just.
Of course.
Oh, they are born perfect. They're just perfect little souls. Mm.
Yeah. And do you think that there's a point in our life where we all of a sudden get stripped from that worthiness?
I mean, this is the thing that I battle with, because I've done so much like this with the whole, trying to, again, I repeating it, but the whole Tony Robbins thing, we did this hypnotherapy. I'm thinking, when was the point? When was I stripped with my worthiness? No, I wasn't stripped of my worthiness. I mean, I doubted myself, but in lots of various situations.
The only reason that you're...
But I decided that.
Yeah, the only reason that... Well, yeah, we did, but we kind of didn't, did we?
Didn't we? Because I always thought that was that I decided that situation when I was a little girl, bloody, bloody, blah, that I decided that I was not enough,
Well, maybe you didn't. Maybe you just accepted what was handed to you, because that's what happens when we're little children.
Yeah, I did, actually. Yeah,
you just
absolutely.
Accepted it as the truth. You probably didn't even decide and go, right, from today, I'm going to think that I'm not good enough, or whatever it is.
I was 3 years old, so no.
Yeah, you probably didn't. It was a subconscious thing that happened. You decided to creatively adjust because of your environment. And maybe, not saying it's true, but sometimes when we creatively adjust when we're little, it's not because we It's actually mostly due to survival. So
surviving within your family group,
yeah,
or surviving.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. And then you just,
Sometimes we can decide that, you know, okay, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough for this. And then therefore, you know, in a similar situation, if you have brothers and they are better than you at certain things, I'm not good enough for this, so therefore I'm going to step away from that, or therefore I'm going to fight that, or therefore I'm choosing to become lazy and not do anything and procrastinate, or therefore whatever those decisions are. It's different for every single person, but we make a choice from there on how we're going to survive this. How am I going to survive this? I'm going to do this. I'm going to creatively adjust to do that. And then we create that pattern, and then it might be working really well. Some people keep patterns for their life because it works.
yeah. But then it doesn't.
But then it doesn't. And that's when we go on, why am I doing this stupid stuff? Why can't I do this? Why can't I get over this? I'll tell you why. Because you created a pattern a long time ago, and maybe we haven't figured out yet that that's a pattern that was working then, but it might not be working for me anymore. So now, oh, maybe it's time to create a new pattern. You're holding, the only reason we're holding on to anything is because it works.
Or doesn't. It doesn't.
Right?
Yeah. That's very true. It's not, I really like that way of looking at it. I really like that way of looking at it. It
So,
seems
you know,
it seems more approachable, it seems more doable than
yeah.
actually, yeah, it does. It seems like, wow, I could work on that. It's a different way of seeing it. I haven't got a word for it, but it's a completely different way of seeing it.
If you think about it, right? You're an artist, you're a creative. Some creatives, and I'm speaking from probably personal experience here, but sometimes creativity is used, or the fuel comes from not being worthy, or, you know, so I use that energy, I use that, you know, motivation to create something remarkable. Some people create music from pain, right? So when you're
some of my greatest paintings were when I was completely, utterly heartbroken, you know, and I had an exhibition and I would see the one that was the most painful, I'd go, oh, I love that. And they would have their own story about it.
Yeah.
But I was always happy about someone having their own story about that painting, because I didn't need someone to know my pain. I was quite happily sold that painting, and with their beautiful story, I wasn't connected to that. Because that didn't bother me.
Yeah.
I felt that was quite amusing, actually, that they would find something else, which was really cool. Because then you could sort of, you know, sort of sneak into that art and no one would know. I'm sure you did it with singing as well, and songwriting. It's very similar, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's just a way to express ourselves, isn't it? And sometimes we, you know, we use those painful experiences or those emotions that we have, and we transform it through creativity. Some people stay in the energy of the pain.
Yeah,
that's one way to make art, or you use it to transform into something different. And that's the transformational art. You know, we have kind of two avenues we can go down. It's like I can continue to dwell in it and feel into the pain and stay in the pain, or I can choose to transform the pain and use my creativity to transform it.
Well, you know, it's funny that you say that, because I did my last exhibition. There's an artist that I've done. He's a sculptor. He's a beautiful, amazing French sculptor, and we've sort of swapped art. And I've got these beautiful sculptures that I've got in swapping to my paintings. And he looked at my paintings last time. He said, "Oh, Rossy," he said, "I see love in your paintings. I see love in your paintings. They're very, oh, I love it." And just before they were quite painful and isolated, and but with funny sort of satire to them. But sometimes I get a bit stuck because I'm a little bit too happy. Isn't that funny that I can't paint because I'm too busy being happy or contented? Okay, and I look at the blank canvas and go, "Ooh, all I want to do is paint hearts and flowers and happy hills," and which doesn't, my paintings have always, I know they've always been heartfelt paintings and emotional paintings, but with a funny side to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
And
know why I'm talking
maybe
about that for, but yeah.
Yeah. So and maybe that is the thing, creating, if you're creating art to transform yourself. I mean, art is very much about transforming ourselves, isn't it? It's using ourselves as a tool in order to move to another way of being. If that's what you're growing into, and if that's what's happening now, it would make sense that the art previously would look different, because you were dealing with your pain, you were living in your pain.
Yeah,
You might
so
not have
totally,
been
so
exactly been aware how to transform it as such. You were using your art to make sense of it, whilst now maybe you're using your art to actually transform yourself, and thereby people look at that and they get into the feeling of transformation too, and they create their own story of transformation by watching and experiencing your art.
That's what'll be interesting, with this whole HiCat course. It's another, again, like painting, we've been doing the module about painting with intuition, and I've done a lot of paintings, and I know, and it's also a module in a little bit what sells, a bit like painting, and I know that there's a certain type of paintings that I keep in that mold because people love them and they ask me to do it, and I do commissions. Not so much now because I'm being doing this, this whole holistic counselling, but where did I go with that? But intuition, I've been spending I actually spent all day yesterday listening to music and painting from intuition. And sometimes I get lost to go, because I'm conditioning to really just letting go without an outcome. It's quite tricky, actually.
So imagine then if the feeling of lack of self-worth or self-love is coming to you right now because it's ready to transform through your art.
Oh, do you know how many times I've cried this morning? Once when I had this baby, now this is about the 10th time I've cried, or every time I had a photo of my newborn grandchild. Now you're making me cry 3 times. I was like, God. I love that. I like that.
This sounds like happier tears, though.
Yeah.
Like your grandson would have been happy tears too, right?
Oh, absolutely. I do feel there is a difference now, because I do find it's funny you say that, because when you ask me about if I had pain in my life, it's a very different feeling now. Like I actually feel lighter. I can feel it. There I go again in my body, because I am, everything's about my body. Much more so than my mind. I can feel it in my body now as I'm talking to you.
Same as giving, same feeling as giving.
Yes. Yes. You know what? Yeah.
Interesting, right? So your body is speaking to you. Your body is telling you.
And I love, this is so really interesting talking to you, Madelaine, because when we're doing that Dr. Rankin about, the mind body, I was just completely fascinated. I could have written books. I just loved that module in the diploma. But now it's different. You need someone to bring that out in you. You can't do it on your own. Thank you. That's a possibility that I could be transforming. Wow, imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Fun, right?
Yes. Yeah, I don't have to stick with that. It's funny, I had this blue chair, and there's a chandelier, and the blue chair was, and I had a person sitting in the blue chair, and this blue chair was quite significant in my paintings, but the blue chair was like the little, like me as my pain self. And I would put this blue chair in lots of different paintings and became quite significant. But the blue chair got bigger and the person got smaller. But gradually, as I sort of dealt with my pain, that the chair disappeared, and so did the girl. But then I did this painting once with the chair, and this girl in a tutu, and she was standing on top of the chair. I think I hadn't sort of got there yet. I just sort of was intellectualizing. Yeah, I got this. I hadn't really. I was going, yes, I'm telling everyone that I'm really rocking it now. But you know, I'm just realizing now that no. But now I'm seeing it differently. That it's not something wrong with me all the time and trying to fix everything all the time.
Well, they're gifts, aren't they? These things that we go through, these things that come up, they can be the things that come up.
I totally agree. I relish in my sort of pain, because I think I even sort of have a bit of a laugh at it, actually, because I say, here comes Rossy Reeves, Drama of the Year award. You know, here she comes with all her magnificence of drama, you know, because I was, and all that. Oh my God, that roller coaster of emotion and crazy art. And
yeah.
It's like, I actually find it funny.
Yeah, love it.
Because it's true, isn't it? You look back at yourself and it's like, well, I do myself, and I've come a big journey from there, but there's still, you know, there's remnants, there's pools, like you say. You just open up this little, I just thought about that then, as a pool of, wow, I couldn't see that. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel excited now. I feel excited. I don't know why. I don't know what I'm going to do, but something.
That's the beauty of art. You can do, you know, you just open up to whatever comes to you. You know how to do that.
Yeah, it was funny we talked back to the art, because that's how I relate. You know, like, it's funny. I see art as a reflection of myself, even though, like, with the counselling thing, it's, but I love giving. So that's the thing. It's interesting. But you being an artist and doing it similar to me, but you know, obviously a lot more down the track, hugely. But where does that come from? Because you're just giving. You're not high. I guess you are. Something to do it. I guess we are being creative, aren't we? Like when you wrote that thing about being creative and not an expert, I loved that. I had to read that about 10 times, and I could feel that in my heart. Going, wow, that's me. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, that's what you are doing. That's what's, you know, that's who you are. Yeah, it's naturally who you are. You can stay in that lane.
Might give that a go. See how it goes.
Yeah. What's your insight so far?
That I can not look at, a huge insight is looking at my fear of being hurt, and looking at and not looking at it as trying to sort of like stop protecting me. It's just part of me. And receiving is part of the giving. And I don't do that, you know. I can even say that better now, I think.
How's your body feeling right now?
Good, relieved. I can feel it in my shoulders.
Beautiful.
I have a check in on it, because my nervous system is just completely, you know, it can be very wired. And so I can feel it. So something tense happening, I can feel it right through my body. And so I can feel, talking to you now, that I feel a lot more relaxed. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And now I'm not broken.
I'm
not broken. Yeah.
How